Hello everyone, welcome back to my EVS class and I am your very own EVS teacher Ms. Sakshi Sharma. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, that is chapter number 15, Water Changes Its Form. In this chapter we are going to learn about various forms of water cycle. So let's get started. Before proceeding with the chapter, I would really like to ask you questions here. So this is your question time. After heavy rainfall, we can see that a lot of water collects on the roads forming puddles. When the sun comes out, all of it disappears. Where do you think all the water goes? Do you know the answer? Please comment in the comment section and give me your answer. There are two more questions. When we keep our wet clothes under the sunlight, the clothes get dry. Where does the water vanish? Next question. How do the wet roads get dry when the sun comes out? So if you know the answers, please tell me in the comment box. Now we are learning about the first step in water cycle. We have water in many water bodies like your oceans, seas, ponds, lakes, rivers. So the water in these water bodies gets evaporated into the sky with the help of sun. When the water goes up into the sky, we call this process as evaporation, because in this what is happening, with the heat of the sun, the water from the water bodies is going up into the sky in the form of water vapors. So, simply, evaporation is a process by which water changes its form from liquid to gas or vapors, because gas means water vapors only. I'll clear everything in the next slides. The conversion of water from liquid to gas is a process of evaporation. Next is condensation. This is the second step in your water cycle. Now the water is already up into the sky in the form of water vapors. Now what is going to happen now? The water vapor changes back into water at night when the temperature is cooler. Similarly, when we place a cool plate near the spout of hot kettle, you will find tiny droplets of water on the surface of the plate. This process is called condensation. Here also you can see a picture where you can see these small droplets. Why these droplets are here? Because these droplets were not allowed to go out because of this hurdle. So that's why you can see these droplets here. In the sky, when we talk, the water that is already up into the sky is now getting cooler. So condensation is a process where water vapor becomes liquid. Now the third process is precipitation. First was evaporation, where the water from the water bodies went up into the sky in the form of water vapors. This was evaporation. After getting cooler, the water changes into the liquid form and start making the clouds. This was condensation. Now these clouds, when get heavy, they throw the water back onto the earth, that is your precipitation. So precipitation is water released from clouds in the form of rain, snow or hail. Okay, we will read about this once again. Remember that evaporation means the water goes up into the sky from any of the water bodies. Condensation means after cooling down, the water droplets form the clouds into the sky. Third is precipitation, when the clouds become heavy and cannot hold any more water. The water falls on the ground in the form of rainfall, hail, or snow. This is precipitation. Again, repeat with me. When the water goes up into the sky in the form of water vapors, it is called evaporation. Now, that evaporated water, that means water vapors will make up the clouds after getting little cooler. So, this is your condensation. Now, when these clouds are heavy, rain or hail will come back onto the earth. This will be your precipitation. So can you see how the water cycle works? Going up into the sky, coming back. Going up into the sky, coming back. So this is your water cycle. So this is your water cycle diagram. Here is a collection of water. It can be any of the water body. Then water is going up into the form of water vapor. So this is the evaporation. Then this water will change into clouds after getting cooler. This is condensation. Now when these clouds are getting heavier, this water will come back over the earth. So this is your precipitation. Evaporation, condensation, and precipitation. These are major three parts of your water cycle. And this happens, you should keep this in mind, that this happens only in the presence of sun. Without sun or any heating body, no water cycle can work. Let's learn more about water cycle. Here are four main stages in the water cycle: evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and collection. Collection means the water is collected into any of the water body. So first is evaporation. This is when warmth from the sun causes water from oceans, lakes, streams, ice, and soil to rise into the air and turns into water vapor. That is a gaseous form of the water. Water vapor droplets join together to make the clouds. Second is condensation. Now we have clouds with us. This is when water vapor in the air cools down and turns back into the liquid water, into the second form of water, that is liquid. Now comes precipitation. This is when water in the form of rain, snow, hail, or sleet falls from the clouds in the sky on the earth. So the water cycle is powered by sun's energy and by gravity. Sun's energy to take the water vapors up into the sky and gravity to take the rain over the earth. The sun kickstarts the whole cycle by heating all the earth's water and making it evaporate. Gravity makes the moisture fall back on the earth. So this is how water cycle works. If you have any query, you can ask me in the comment section. Now, forms of water. So we know that there are three forms of water: solid, liquid, and gas. Ice is the solid form of water. Then normal water that we drink is your liquid form, or which we use for your bathing, washing purposes, that is your liquid form of water. Then we have steam, that is the gaseous form, and water vapors also. There is one phenomenon now. When we heat the first form of water, we get the second form. When we again heat the second form of water, we get the third form, that is your water vapors. Okay. Now same way, when we cool down the water vapors, that is the third form, we get the second form of water, that is water. Like this water goes up into the sky, Or let's not take the example of water cycle. I'll tell you one example here which you might have seen in your kitchen. When mama makes any food, for example dal, or makes tea for you, right, or heats milk for you, if you keep any lid, if you keep any lid over the pan or your utensil, you can see small droplets, right, under the lid of your pan. These droplets are basically the water vapors. Okay, you can see water vapors as well. When mama is cooking food, you can go and see the steam is going up into the sky. So that is your water vapor. So first form, second form, and third form. By heating it goes this way, by cooling it comes back, right? So these are the three forms of water. Now comes your state of matter. That means water. We are talking about the three states of water: solid, liquid, and gas. First, second, and third. This is a cooler side. Okay, cooler side means the water will get hard and become ice. Why is it hard? Because all the molecules are closely packed, that's why it is your solid form. Now when we heat it, we go towards a heating point, then it becomes liquid because all the molecules will become little loose. So this is your liquid form. When we again heat water, the molecules will be very far, making it a gas. So first form is solid, and second is liquid, third is gas. Solid, liquid, and gas are the three states of water. That means you can see water either in solid form, ice, liquid form, water, and gaseous form, that is your water vapors. I hope this is clear. If it is not, you can ask me questions. Now your question time. So your first question is, what are the three forms of water? If you already know the answer, pause the video and write in the comment section. Written? Shall I give you the answers? So the three forms of water are solid, liquid, and gas. Our next topic is getting salt from sea. So salt can be removed from seawater with the help of a process called evaporation. This is one of the simplest methods, right, in which the seawater is allowed to stand in small shallow pits. When the sunlight falls on this water, the water evaporates in few days. Obviously evaporation is little slow process, so it needs more time. So in few days all the water evaporates, and what left behind, that is your salt. Now this salt we send for purification processes, right, to get a very fit and healthy pure salt for consumption. Is it not clear? No problem, I'll show you the picture to make it more clear to you. These are your salt dikes. So this way we have made the small pans in which we have kept the water, right? This is your sea water. We will leave this for few days, and finally all the water from these salt dikes will get evaporated. Then what will left behind? This will be your salt. Now this salt will be having some kind of infection, so we will send this salt to factories and industries to make it more clear, more fit for drinking, and more fit for consuming, right? Using it into a food, and then finally we can eat it. Now, the very last topic that we have is your Dandi March. Okay, this is from Did You Know of your book, but as it is important, so that's why I have made more slides on it. So, Dandi March, very important. That is March to Dandi. This March is not the month of your year. No, this March means walking on foot. This is also called Dandi March, is also known as the Salt March and Salt Satyagrah, right? And sometimes it is also called the Dandi Satyagrah. A march was conducted by Mahatma Gandhi, the father of nation, to oppose the salt law introduced by British rule. Before 1947, before our independence, the Britishers were the one who were ruling over Indians. So they set up a law that now Indians cannot make salt. You know that we are getting salt from seawater, and India has a lot of seawater, right? If you go to Goa, you go to Kerala, Mumbai, we have a lot of places where we can get the salty water, that is your ocean water, and we can get our salt. But Britishers said that now you will buy the salt from us. You cannot get your own salt, and they also imposed some tax on salt. Now, to oppose this tax and this new law, Mahatma Gandhi have done a Dandi March. So, under this law, Indians were restricted from producing or selling salt. Okay, Indians were restricted from producing, ना बना सकते, and selling salt, ना बेच सकते. Salt Satyagrah March started on 12th of March 1930. You should keep this in mind. From Sabarmati Ashram and reach Dandi. That's also a place. Sabarmati Ashram and Dandi after 24 days. So it was basically 24 days long march. So it started from 12th of March 1930 and it ended in Dandi on 6th of April 1930. So it was 24 days long march wherein Mahatma Gandhi along with his followers they just marched from Sabarmati to Dandi. Why? Because they really wanted to oppose the salt law, and finally they won. So this is a picture of Dandi March wherein you can see Mahatma Gandhi here, and all these are basically the followers. There were many, all are not in the picture. There were many followers who have gone to Dandi during this Dandi March. Thank you so much. We are done with today's lecture. If you really liked my video, please give me a thumbs up, like my video, and if you really want to share it with others, you can, and please subscribe my channel. I really love to teach. So take care of yourself. Bye bye.